put on your hat and get out there. And try to act professional, for Christ's sake.
Each year, whether you celebrate Pancha Ganapati, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or Misoka, or nothing in particular, December is a month swimming in good vibes, nostalgia, and garish decorations. It's also the time for seasonal specials, and lest we forget, holiday movies.
Oh, that smells wonderful.
You've got the trusty classics, the go-to greats, the inoffensive background noise, and this cackling hovel of turds. In amongst the tried and true family fare, other genres have toyed with the holidays. Thrillers set against the howling winter wind, horror with its blood on the snow bedlam, Eyes Wide Shut and its, mask-wearing sex picnics. In amongst the cheer and chills, there aren't many winter wonderlands as whiskey-soaked, wildly inappropriate, or verbally incontinent as 2003's Bad Santa. Unless your name is Shane Black, in which case you've built a mighty respectable career out of all those things. Rounding out a sort of oddball outsider trilogy that began with Crumb and Ghost World, director Terry Zwigoff, along with the writers of Cats and Dogs, and producers / extremely welcome ghostwriters the Coen brothers, gave the world Willy. A child-scorning, adult-abhorring, sobriety-shunning skeleton of emaciated anger and stubble-faced indignance.
You are really Santa, right?
No, I'm an accountant. I wear this fucking thing as a fashion statement, alright?
While plotting to rob a local shopping mall, he's taken under the wing of the eerily optimistic Thurman Merman and the warm, free-spirited Sue. So, with all its sour dialogue and jagged nihilism, what is it about this bile-ridden corpse of Christmas past that elevates it beyond button-pushing bah humbuggery? It starts and ends with the virtue of an unlikable lead. The trajectory here isn't a slow-moving car crash where a good Father Christmas spins off the road and wrecks up as the titular Bad Santa. Willy starts at rock bottom and slowly slides even further between the cracks of cold, cantankerous loathing. There isn't any earnest attempt to climb out of his alcoholism, nor is he in any way making excuses for his conduct. What Bad Santa does so well is position Willy as a man who soaked up an entire life of bad examples and hardships, leaving him virtually incapable of absorbing the earnest outreach of those who tried their hardest to help.
You're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
It's essentially leaving Las Vegas with Saint Nick filling in for Nicolas Cage, and there's a very real moral lesson to be learned from that. Being nice to nice people is easy. Caring about the inconsiderate, now that's a measure of character. Our thoughts, feelings, sympathies, and common connections shouldn't be partitioned off for those who adhere entirely to our value systems. We don't operate in a world where anyone who isn't our friend is our enemy. Much in the same way Charles Bukowski found coarse poetry somewhere between the racetrack and the gutter, Bad Santa hides its humble emotional beats and murky depths within a big lump of coal. As discussed by Vice in their comprehensive retrospective on the film, much of the misanthropic grumbling here is the product of a deeply rooted and distinctly masculine inadequacy complex, one born of an all-encompassing fear. Impotence.
Man is a sexual being. Yeah. Fucking Darwinian.
No.
Can't do shit about that, Jack.
No.
Hell, I wouldn't want to.
Willy's overt horniness seems like his last bastion of tangible feeling, his tenuous final grasp for human connection, and one he parades around with flagrant abandon.
You got anything in there?
Yeah, my dick. You want to see it?
Even the merest suggestion of sexual dysfunction is enough to send him into a defensive fit.
Your performance, the,
Performance like sexual?
Excuse me?
Willy.
Are you saying there's something wrong with my gear? Is that what you're saying to me?
It's a small spark of self-preservation in an otherwise suicidally self-destructive man. His alcoholism is a chicken or egg situation here. Does Willy drink to excuse his cantankerous failings and childhood traumas, or is his parasitic existence all the acidic aftertaste of a life spent floating his liver? At his lowest possible ebb, following a failed bid to take his own life, something of a Christmas miracle occurs. He changes, I mean, if it worked for It's a Wonderful Life, there's no reason it can't work for It's a Urine-Stained Santa. Sure, part of this is instigated by the sense of accomplishment he feels from beating up a bunch of children, but Bad Santa isn't preaching the gospel of 180 reevaluations, or something as trite as a personality transplant. It understands that when you've spent a lifetime laid out on the floor, making it up onto your hands and knees is an enormous accomplishment unto itself. Up until this point, Willie has been a force of chaos and carnal abandon that somehow goes ignored, an invisible monster that barely registers a response from anyone else. Which is more telling of the vicious, indifferent world than it is in any way a comment on his insignificance. As he takes small, stumbling steps away from his encumbered selfishness, there's no mistaking Willie for a great or even a good person, but he is a better one, and he's moving further in the right direction.
Thanks.
It's the kind of sincerity and unintrusive sentiment that can only burst and bloom from acres of acrid manure, the muck of which makes for a rewarding comedy of contradictions. While much of the film is shot with the soft-focused, stylistically unassuming flatness of a Disney Channel cheer-me-up, the retching vulgarity of the actual screenplay is a cocktail shaken and stirred in a rusted gas tank.
What, you shat me out of your womb? You're my fucking mom now? I don't need any goddamn lectures out of you.
Its setting, the chalk-dry heat of Phoenix, Arizona, is as far from the snow and hot cocoa you'd likely expect of the season, which only serves to strip the artificial glow from all the gaudy decorations and cloying consumerism on display. These jarring rejections of Christmas card cliches bolster the smoke-damaged but winning heart of the film. If you think about it, so much of the legwork of December set favourites is carried by seasonal schmaltz and age-old imagery we can casually slip into once a year like a trusty pair of slippers. In a stubborn act of defiance, Bad Santa rejects this surface-level and moral simplicity in pursuit of grounded, and therefore much more affecting truths.
Maybe you'd bring me a present? Because last year and the year before that, you didn't bring me any presents. Even though I'm a dipshit loser.
Jesus fucking Christ, kid! Why do you talk about yourself that way?
Being a little bit better doesn't necessarily make you a good person, but you're better than you were before, and you might be even better tomorrow. For a more recent example of this kind of character development, BoJack Horseman utilises these same tenets of a fallible lead making marginal but not insignificant self-improvements.
It's not too late for me, is it? It's not too late. Diane, I need you to tell me that it's not too late.
BoJack,
I need you to tell me that I'm a good person.
It's an assured and understanding way of highlighting how unlikable and unlovable are far from the same thing. Unless you're talking about the ugly, overdue, and unfathomably awful bright pink elephant in the room. One of the worst comedy sequels I've ever had the eye-gouging displeasure of sitting through, Bad Santa 2. You see, every positive, intelligent, or three-dimensional exploration of character I was all too happy to ramble on about, that dry, witty screenplay that makes me laugh so much, none of that is present here. Bad Santa 2 is an excrement-smeared changeling in place of an actual successor. A despicable, dim-witted, and downright nasty follow-up that feels like a sequel to the promotional material for Bad Santa, rather than the film itself.
You are by far the dumbest, most pathetic piece of maggot-eating shit that has ever slid from a human being's hairy ass.
While the original broaches alcoholism, inferiority, the male id, and Philip Larkin-esque ruminations on flawed parents, Bad Santa 2 replaces all of that with spewing pussy garbage. A loveless bastardization of a layered character study that stamps out any spark and replaces it with broiling aggression towards women, the differently abled, the poor, and women, again.
I'm just into, more mature, experienced guys. Bad boys, guys that don't give a fuck and treat me like shit.
So stick with the original and consign this radioactive toilet to the cesspool of history. There's a long and crooked branch of entertainment focused on the apparent plight of self-defeating roguish men, finding their way through problems of their own creation.
You sicken me. You repulse me. Can I make that any fucking plainer?
The truly great examples skewer the entitled and ponder the indignity of social isolation, all the while understanding that trying to be better is an uphill battle, and surrendering to our worst behaviour is a slippery slope. Bad Santa discards the sparkle and saccharine of its seasonal companions, but not as a petty, bitter protest.
For Christ's sakes, it's Christmas.
It understands that these are all window-dressing distractions from the real reason so many of us resonate with Christmas films. There's a comfort to be found in these traditions. Now, Bad Santa may focus on atypical and deeply destructive traditions, yearly binges of booze, burglary and belligerent swearing, but these traits are not the spirit of the film or its message. It's never too late to adopt new behaviour and challenge harmful patterns. No matter how cold you are, there's warmth to be had if you're willing to trudge through the frost and thaw. And the bad can always do better. Special shout out to our Patreon producers Jennifer C, Claire MD, and Nicholas Leigh Revere, as well as a refreshing eggnog or nog-related beverage for all the patrons who help support the channel. If you want to see your name in the credits, get access to the In Frame Out Film Club, read our written reviews, or give us a hand for as little as $1 a month, consider checking out our Patreon at the link in the description below. So what are your favourite unconventional holiday films? And have you seen the absolute turkey that is Bad Santa 2? Let us know in the comments below, and as always we really appreciate it when you comment, like, share, subscribe, all that rubbish. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.